A lot of people resist documenting their processes for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to take a lot of time. Two, for visionary and creative people, it's going to restrict our ability to become creative. It's not going to allow us to do the work we need to do in that flexibility. So I'm going to talk about the creative side of process, because what I want you to understand is that process is a method for you to be able to create the diamonds you want in your work. So when you document a process, one, you give it some restriction and boundaries. When you get restriction or pressure, that's how diamonds are made. Creativity actually works better when there's boundaries. And you'll see this whenever a new law is passed in an industry and a company will go, how are we going to overcome or work within this law? And they get creative. You'll see this when you do, I've done a lot of workshops, and you'll give someone a challenge to take, string and straws and other miscellaneous glop and say, I want you to create something from this, but it has to be only 4 inches or there's restrictions to the process. And they inevitably come up with some really genius ideas. So what's a new use for straws that aren't typically for straws, as an example? And they're like, oh, if only we can use this, we'll come up with more interesting ideas. So restriction on process or having documented process and having guidelines allows a path for creativity, that pressure to create the diamonds in your work. I get a lot of confusion around process versus procedure on this same thing, because the reason why creatives and visionaries get concerned about it is it's going to be procedural, like robots, 100% of everything. And so there is a difference between process and procedure. Process is a lot more entrepreneurial, again, creative, flexible. And what process should be doing for you is allowing you to do continuous improvement. It should give you the fundamentals in your business, and it should be really only the 20% of things documented that get you the 80% of the results you want to see. Where procedures, which is sometimes called process, procedures really restrict you down to the 100% of everything, the details of the work or the job. And so the details are akin to that fundamental, right? So if process is fundamental, procedures have the detail. If process does the 20% to get the 80% result, procedure gives you the 100% of everything, the standard operating procedures. So what you want is really to focus as an entrepreneurial organization on process, get it documented. You won't know how to improve something if you don't have it documented and you aren't living it every day. When you're doing it, you know how to change it. If you don't have it documented, you don't know what to change. So you're left without that ability to create innovation, creativity, and better outcomes for your organization.